I'll get it. One of these weeks, that is going to be a seamless transition between the intro and us. Welcome.
Wow. Hello.
One of these weeks, I swear I'll get it. Okay. Act like that didn't happen, people. Yeah.
I thought it was perfect.
Well, and now I can't remember what I was going to say. That threw me all off. Hello. Welcome, all you cool cats and kittens. Welcome to...
Hey, you cool cats.
Yes. Episode 3 of Beyond the Brush Live. The cool cat versus the copycat.
I love this. I love the title here. Well, if you guys don't know, I am Leah from Leah Noel Design Co. And as Bianca said, hey, all you cool cats and kittens, we're going to be talking about the cool cat versus the copycat. You know what? Like, cats are all like, hey, I think it's like right on trend.
Hey, I'll take that.
With our favorite TV show right now. Because we need entertainment, right?
Yes, isn't that
more
the
than ever. More than ever. So today we're going to talk, Bianca and I, we're kind of talking about like what kind of topic can we bring to you this week that we feel is asked about a lot, and a lot of people don't know how, like, what is the difference between being inspired and actually directly copying somebody. And we're in a position where we're putting content out all the time to inspire you to paint and create and get out your brush and paint some furniture. And here's an idea. You could paint this yellow. You could paint this red. And we have all these ideas. And what is the difference between copying and directly copying and coming up with your own look, your own brand, your own design?
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. Your own identity, something that sets you apart from the masses, really.
Right. And that's so important, like having your own distinct design style. So how do you do it? Because you do it very well. And I feel like you do a very, you have a very unique look, and I don't even know how to describe your look.
You know, if you'd asked me that a couple of years ago, I would say that I have a style. And now I'm not so sure. And yes, I think that people can look at my work and my imagery and say, oh, that's Lotus Theory Designs. However, I tend to dabble in different styles and different looks. I won't stick to just one thing. 1 week I might be, we'll say, whimsical. And the next, I'm just totally gothed out and in my Marilyn Manson mood, And then the next, maybe I'm doing something with florals and metallics. And, sometimes I'll do clean work. Sometimes I'm blending. Sometimes I'm grungy. So, I think it's just really the mood that I'm in. And then also what is inspiring to me. I gather inspiration just like we all do from all of the artists out there, and not only just artists, but, everyday life, maybe the wall is peeling over there. My wall is not peeling, but say that it was, They're like, gosh, what is she living in?
Can't you fix that?
I know, right? No, I like it. But, or like, gosh, there was like a fence panel I drove by a couple of months ago and I took a picture and I just loved it,
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. I kind of went off track.
No, it was
got me looking at my walls like,
Do I need to paint those?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's really like I feel like I'm in the same boat as you, like where I don't have my design style. I just saw Melissa and Malia come on here, and I know like Malia has a name, Romantic Grunge, or like Melissa, she has the name Mad Hatter style. Right. I don't know that I have I don't really have I'm like you. I jump all over the place.
Kind of like a Freebird, right?
Yeah, Freebird style.
Or a vagabond. Yeah, just not really settling down in any one trend or style. Mm-hmm.
Right, because I see things that I'm like, hey, I totally want to paint that. I know this person painted it, but I want to paint that too. So I think that's one thing I just did. If you guys know Melissa from the Top Drawer RVA, she does this gorgeous Mad Hatter style. And there's just a way that she does it that is unique to her. And so this week I'm painting furniture for my daughter's bedroom. And I wanted to have that style of furniture in my daughter's bedroom. So I messaged Melissa and I'm like, hey girl, And I'm going to do a Mad Hatter style in my own unique way,
Mhm.
but it's totally pulled from inspiration from you, because if I didn't see that, here's the difference between like copying and being like cool and copying and just being a copycat is I'm like, hey, I'm going to paint something similar. It's not going to be exactly the same, but it's similar. And I wouldn't have been inspired to do this if it wasn't for you. So within that, Melissa's totally going to get all the credit when I love that, JPO. But when I post that, I will have enough respect for Melissa to say, like, hey, this is a Mad Hatter style piece of furniture inspired by Melissa at the Top Drawer RVA. And
Right.
and I only have to do that. I'll only do that once. When I post, I'll do it in my initial post. And I don't always do it in my initial post, but this one I will, because it's definitely heavily, like, it depends on how heavily inspired I was. Like, sometimes
Right.
you just see something and it's not a direct copy, but like, for me, when you see the piece, you're going to be like, yeah, that looks like something Melissa would do. And it totally is like inspiration. So it's just good manners to be like, hey, I learned this from Melissa, and I haven't even watched any of her videos or anything, but I saw her do something like this.
Right.
I wasn't trained, but I was able to make something that looks similar to her work. So I definitely want to give her credit. Does that make sense? And have you done something like that?
It does. And what happens is I believe that it builds a good working relationship and rapport within the members of our community when we do that, when we extend the respect out to them and say, hey, you know what, like and just really acknowledge their talents and their value. Look what you've done. You've inspired me. It may not be exact, but I was thinking about you and your talents and your value when I did this. And I thank you. And not only is that going to boost Melissa's confidence up, I mean, that's going to make her feel good, but she's not going to be sitting there thinking, she copied me.
Yeah.
It's going to totally avoid any kind of animosity or salty feelings. Not saying she would have them, but, it's just going to make sure that she does not have them.
Right. Right. Exactly. And I always see it. There's a lot of times in our industry where somebody who is also like more established will copy somebody who's not, and they don't give the proper credit. And and I've had this happen. Like I've had people like within the community come to me because it's happened to them, and it's so like defeating, because you feel like, gosh, like how many times, I don't know if you've had this experience, but like artists will say, like, I run a craft fair in my town. I don't run it, but like my scout troop does. And some of the crafters are like, I don't want my images posted online because people copy my ideas. Right. And it's I feel like it's kind of an old way of thinking, honestly. But that is out there. Like a lot of artists are like, don't post my stuff online because people copy my ideas. And yet and so it's just like, if you're inspired by someone and you want to copy them or you want to do something, it's good manners to be like, hey, I learned this from Lotus Theory Designs. Like I was inspired, and that's all you have to say. It doesn't, you don't have to like have a tribute. You don't have to mention it in every video. It's just
don't build a shrine. It's okay. Yes, absolutely. I know, I guess to get down to the nitty gritty of the topic, I know how I have felt when I have seen, it's, first of all, let's just start with the premise that anytime an artist puts their work out there on the forefront, in the public eye, on social media, it's vulnerable and it can be scary. I don't know if people are going to embrace it or hate it. We don't know. So let's just start with that, because once we get past, the fear of that, then it's out in the world. And so now, if people are, I guess, copying what I've done that I felt was original to me and my brand, and not mentioning, we can be inspired. I think for me, what really bothers me the most is when it's put out there as if it's their original idea. Look what I did. I thought this up all on my own, and it's just like, I mean, I literally have sent, friends, I would never publicly do this because, I'm sometimes I wish I were a lesser person that didn't really care.
Yeah.
But,
I know.
I've sent pictures to friends, like in private, like, look, and it hurts my feelings that I inspired somebody and yet am not held to enough value in their eyes to say, hey, thank you for
Right.
inspiring me. And that's really what it comes down to. Publicly, yeah.
Yeah.
Even a side message would be better, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think too, even I really feel strongly about this as well. Like, there's an initial, when you're growing your business and there's this initial post, like, it is your work. You did work on it. It is your creation. And I've had people do this too. And I think this is okay. And I don't know if other people will agree with me. But my thing is that initial post, when I am putting my work out there, like, that is big. That is going to get lots of likes, comments, and shares, which is really important for my business to sell the piece. When other people have done my work, I don't always feel that in that initial post, they need to credit me. Honestly, I don't. I almost feel like even if afterwards they're like, hey, you know that, like, even like the next post, like, I got this idea from Leah Noel Design Co. and here's her piece, or, I was inspired by her and here's a different angle. I don't always feel like because sometimes, like, that is still your work. And I know how big it is when you put it out there, but at some point, publicly being like, hey, I learned this from, and then moving on. Like, it doesn't have to be a big ordeal. It's just, I learned this from, and it gives us a little bit more confidence that we are inspiring and we're also being respected, and that it gives us value too, that our work is being used, and our work is our content and our videos and everything else.
In the furniture art industry, we're still people.
Yes, we still have feelings.
Exactly, and it's just really nice to get a thank you or some credit or whatever, some positive affirmation, because we need to get fed too.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then here's the other thing too. This is what I've also seen. I have literally seen exact replicas of one artist's work done by somebody else. That artist, the original artist, might have a following of loyalists. And I've seen them flat out, and the internet can be one of those places where, I mean, oh my gosh, people can just be mean out there. I'll just say it. And so they'll just start attacking, jumping in. You copied. I've seen that. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And so I guess in my mind is, why would anybody want to put themselves in that position to be under that level of scrutiny? And so I think that falls into what we were talking about how it can serve your brand better to not be just a blatant copycat, but not give credit, and not give credit, I guess would be the right way to say it.
Right. Yeah. And finding your own inspiration. So, like, I feel like the popular practices when you want to paint a piece of furniture.
Yes, Brandy.
Oh, yes, Brandy. We give so much for free. Recognition is little to ask. It is. We do give a lot out for free. A lot of video, a lot of content. A lot of even telling you the colors or the process or writing those blogs and having it is free to use. So the recognition is great. But I really wanted to touch on, like, how do you find inspiration without going to Pinterest, without like we're here to inspire, but like, one of the ways I feel like has really benefited me in figuring out how to paint something that isn't copied is I do pull that inspiration. I do look at your work. I look at Brandy's work. I look at Dion's work. I look at Pinterest and I feed it, and I feed that inspiration. And then I let it go. And then in the morning I get up early, and before I look at my phone, I'll go start to create. And I find that not having that fresh on my mind helps me create something that is more original, opposed to like looking at Pinterest all day and then feeling like inadequate, like I'll never be able to measure up to painting something that beautiful. So I just copy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't get me wrong, I do go on Pinterest sometimes, but for the most part, I try not to. And I don't watch a lot of people's lives, actually. And it's not that I don't want to be supportive. It's just I don't want anybody else in my brain.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
it
but I
does.
don't want to be influenced by other people
Right.
necessarily. Now, if I'm scrolling through Facebook and, somebody's beautiful piece of artwork pops up, I might save it to my phone,
Yeah.
or save it in here, and they might say, hey, you know what, that's going to be my inspiration. However, I'm not painfully trying to figure out a way to recreate something. Maybe I just like the way the base was blended, and maybe there's a whole
Right.
bunch of, for example, the Mad Hatter style of Melissa's. Maybe I really just like the way she blended that one section, and I'm going to
Right.
make the rest of it my own.
Right.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I totally get that. Yeah. And it's not even, I always say too, like, I can't even copy myself, but then I've seen some pieces where people have copied and I'm like, okay. Like, cause before, honestly, I didn't even get it. I felt like I didn't even have, like, I felt like I couldn't even copy myself. So how could someone else copy me? And then I see some of the pictures of other
Right.
people and I'm like, okay, wait, I was wrong. I was totally wrong. Inspired by and copied are two different things.
They are.
Yes.
I literally will sometimes go back through my old work and get my own inspiration and try to copy myself, and I can't remember how I did something.
I do the same thing.
Like, I can't even tell you how I achieved that,
Yeah. Because you get in your own head and you just keep going. And yeah, I totally get that.
Yep, get in the zone.
So how do you guys feel about this?
Yeah, let's hear from you guys. What do you guys think? I understand that this is probably a topic that some of you are like, yeah, you tell them, honeys. And then some of you might be a bit uncomfortable. So we want to hear from you. Throw your comments out there. This is a community forum, and we want to know what you think. Here's one from Restore More.
Hello, Restore More. I spend hours watching all the ambassadors' lives, and yes, it is free. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate your inspiration. So sometimes it's very hard not to copy. Yes.
That's a really good point, actually. I think that brings up a really, really good point. How do you not copy when you're learning techniques and all of that, and styles and just different design ideas from different people? How do you not?
Well, and some people, and here's the thing, you have two different ways of learning, like where I feel like we're artists and we do create our own style. Some people aren't. Some people just, they need that step-by-step tutorial. And so that's why we're not saying don't, like, there's a difference between those. Like there's a difference between those of you guys that are buying a tutorial and you're doing it step by step and you are making that imagery, or your image looks exactly like mine or Bianca's or Brandy's. What we're asking is, instead of you feeling like we're just asking to say, hey, I learned this from, Bianca at Lotus Theory Designs. Like if you paint for me, I'm just going to use this as an example. If you paint a yellow dresser with blue cosmic roses on it, it would be nice if you would just post like, hey, I learned this from Leah Noel Design Co. It's just giving that credit. And it's okay. I feel like it is okay to do a piece. Like if you see a piece, like I saw Melissa's Mad Hatter piece and I'm like, that's what I want in my house. I'm a furniture fan. That's what I want in my house. And so I want to create that. And so it's just saying, I was inspired by and I learned this from Melissa at the Top Drawer RVA. It's just the manners of saying I learned this from.
It's manners. And so with that said, it's not rules.
No.
It's not, enforceable policy. It's just manners. And I do think, as we said earlier, it's going to help to build a positive rapport between you and other artists.
Right.
I know that if somebody says, I'll just be scrolling through, for example, the Chalk Mineral Paint Enthusiast group, and somebody's like, inspired by Leah, and they post their picture. And I'm just like, it's like I more so than just looking at that piece of work, I'm looking at that person like, I respect you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole business is it's this whole community. I shouldn't say business, because we are in a community where we're sharing. And it's really getting me through right now, you guys. I don't know about you, but like seeing some people say like, I finally have time to paint this furniture, or, just seeing like the community that's coming together right now, our creative community and the Chalk and Mineral Paint Enthusiast group, on our pages, everywhere, where people are just sharing their work. Yeah. It's inspiring to me, and we need this community. So the more we could just like have some ground rules or some guidelines, of like, hey, like I work really hard to inspire and create for you. Just say, hey, I learned this from,
Right.
Do you feel
and that's
that
all
way
it
too?
takes. Oh, I absolutely do. There's, for me, so getting into my psyche a little bit, I am very much so, I like to be, original. I like to be independent. I like to be, I guess, in a bouquet of red roses, I'll be the one white rose. That's just kind of how I think. And so for me, I mean, I've literally seen, I'll post something and within like a week, I'll see the same thing coming up. Look what I did. Isn't it amazing? And it's just like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I sit here like, I got that one, the eyes just twitching in the vein,
Yeah.
Because it's just like, well,
and
hello.
what would soften it? And what would soften it?
What would soften it is, hey, thanks for the inspo, Bianca.
Yes, that's all.
It. Yeah. And then I'd feel all warm and fuzzy, and I'd feel really good about what I do. It would, just, I'm also a creature of affirmation. And so, my love language is affirmation. If you say, good job, Bianca, like, I'll be your bestie.
Right.
So not only that, but it also feeds my soul when you're like, hey, you inspired me.
Right. I totally agree. Yeah.
Lee says it's professional courtesy. I can't help but to agree. There's actually quite a bit of comments rolling in. We asked them to share. So I'm just going to randomly. Here we go. Brandy's sunflower cabinet. Inspired by Brandy's sunflower. Read that. I can't say sunflower. Sunflower.
I
can't say.
Stacy, you're making us tongue tied today. So Stacy was inspired by Brandy's sunflower cabinet, and she did the colors, and she wants to do the exact same thing, which I think is okay. I think you should totally do the exact same thing. But when you do, just say, hey, I was inspired by Brushed by Brandy.
Right.
And just tag her page, and that's it. Just tag her page, be like, I was inspired by, and then because like, I cannot lie to you guys. Like, I get inspired by Brandy all the time. I'm inspired by Bianca all the time. And normally I'm able to create on my own, but even like with I keep going back to Melissa because it just is, it's what I'm doing right now. It's like, I learned this from, was inspired by.
Right. Speaking of Melissa.
There she is.
There she is. And she appreciates it.
Yes.
Becomes a compliment. Absolutely. Rather than a copycat. Thank you goes a long way. Melissa, you're absolutely on point. Doesn't it make you feel good, Melissa? I know it does me. And I'll tell you what, when I don't get any kind of credit, I did a grungy old world sponge technique, and I did an entire dresser in a 3-part live. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to see that same technique coming out. Now, I'm not claiming that I'm the absolute original person that's ever done that. Of course not. However, I do know that these are people that were engaging in my live and watching my live, and then they come out with it and there's no mention. And I got to say that not only does it hurt my feelings, it makes me not want to share my secrets.
Yes. Yes.
And so if you want to see those secrets and keep receiving that free stuff and learning the inside knowledge, like just say, hey, thanks, Bianca.
Right.
Thanks, Leah. That's it.
Right. Right.
Because I feel like all of a sudden I'm like, I need a paid group.
Right. Right. And you know what? And I do. And I will tell you, because I do have paid groups, and I save content for some of those groups, like a lot. Some of my content I do. I think it falls into, do we have to, like, as brand ambassadors for a company, as people who go live weekly and teach, do we have, like, are we obligated to share every secret of the trade we have? And the answer is no.
No.
The answer is no. And there are some things that, like, I can't even, I know you get like this too. It's like, sometimes you get in the zone and you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing because I'm just doing it, And then people will be like, how did you do that? And you're like, I don't know.
Right. But here's the colors I used. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the colors I think I used, because I used about 50.
Yeah. No, I think that's absolutely on point. We don't have to share all of our secrets. We do it. Why do we do it? I mean, really, it's really hard for me. It's been becoming a brand ambassador almost a year ago. It was kind of like, ooh, I don't know if I want to share my secrets with the world.
Right.
but I do it as a courtesy. I do it as a way to just do my part, contribute to our community.
Right.
And so when I do that and I put myself out there, it's very vulnerable to do it. It took me a long time to get used to doing lives, and so once I put that out there, to see it not being credited or even, appreciated or just a thank you or anything, it hurts my feelings. I'm a human being.
Right. And we're happy that you do lives and you teach, and that you teach. And, I'm so grateful for all the free content that is out there because, I've even had I've had a woman in my community who never would have picked up a brush. And then all of a sudden I started painting and she's watching all of us and she's inspired to go paint. And, those types of stories inspire me because whenever you can inspire someone, it feels really good.
Absolutely. So I like what they're saying. A lot of people are saying, when learning, you can put your own spin on it, use different colors, add a few special touches, or if it's a replica, just one-time credit is great. You don't have to do it every time you post a pic of it. Amen,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Yep.
Simple.
Absolutely. Yep. And this is from Brandy. Hello, Brandy. It encourages us and gives Dixie Belle feedback that we are being effective. That's true. That's true. Yes, it's job security. Thanks for saying that, Brandy. You guys give us credit so Dixie Belle knows that we are awesome.
Right. And Dixie Belle's like, what are we doing with these girls?
Right.
But when you're like, hey, I learned this from so-and-so, they know. And then that also leads us to know giving us that feedback. Even if it's in a private message, I always encourage people to message my page and give me feedback. We encourage you, if you have a topic you want us to go over, email us because it shows us what you guys want more of too.
Yeah. What's working, what's not.
You guys don't it's so funny because it's my best videos are when I do simple things too.
Yeah.
How about you? Sometimes it's those advanced techniques, but sometimes people just want to see the simple stuff.
Yeah. I've started to kind of play with that a bit. It's funny. I'll do a complex technique and it doesn't seem to generate a whole lot of interest. So then I'll say, I'm going to do a simple technique. And then they're asking me about how I did this complicated technique that I skipped over. So I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just, at this point I've given up and I'm just I'm just going to do what I do and put what I do out there. Whether it's simple or complex, but I do see what you're saying. I think it just, who knows? I don't know. I don't understand people. I don't understand, people, not I don't understand people.
Yeah. It's a mystery. But I think that when you guys tag us and let us know what you like and what you're what I mean to say is when you tag us and are I was inspired by Leah, then we know what you like and what you want more of too.
That's true.
You're hey, I learned this technique from Leah and I'm tagging her and then I'm oh, hey, they like black and white stripes. I should do more of that. Or they it's letting us know this is what I like and what I use and this is what I want more of.
Right.
But it comes
and that's
free.
What we'll give you.
Yeah, and it's free to you guys to just be hey, learned this from, and then it
Absolutely.
helps us. It helps us.
Thanks, Linda.
Linda, you're awesome. Thank you.
Yes, you are awesome. Amy says this makes perfect sense.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, it's just professional courtesy.
Here's a long one. Ready? I'm going to let you
ready.
read because my tongue gets all twisted up in my mouth.
Okay. Let me get some water.
Ready?
I'm ready.
No pressure. No pressure. I feel like we're back on our words. I know. I feel like we're back on our mystery wheel live. Ready?
Yeah.
Ready? Yeah.
Oh, that was so much fun.
It really was. If you guys missed that, catch it. Here you go.
All right, Lindsay. We talk about this in my tribe, a positive group I am a member of. And creators of the group stress this a lot. It is an expectation in the business and community. We only come together when we show appreciation for one another and what we learned from one another. More so, this is what they say as well. They only share certain things with our pay group because they trust us to give them recognition for their work. Well said. Very well said. Yeah. It just is. But I feel like it was important to do an episode on this because a lot of people don't know this. And a lot of people are like, oh, I just thought it was, I feel like a lot of times, we're in a position where people just think like, oh, they're established. It doesn't matter. Because I thought that way too. Thought that way too. I'd be like,
and so did I. Yes.
Yeah. I was like, when I first started, I remember, and I will admit, Dionne Woods of the Turquoise Iris, I posted pictures of her work on my page, and I'm like, which one should I paint next? You know, and I didn't tag her. I didn't know any better. And then, and then I learned, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that was so rude of me. I had no idea. And I didn't know, but I did it. I shared her work without crediting her. I put her work up there for other people to judge. And I just didn't know. And then I learned, and now I do better. So that's why we want to put it out there, is because you just learn and you do better. And she's since forgiven me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
She, you know, of course.
Well, I think it's all part of the journey.
It is. It really is. It's when you know better, you do better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Here we go. Lindsay says your complex techniques. Blah, blah, blah. Does my speech inspiration, girl, I cannot talk. Inspire you too. What is wrong with me today?
Case of the Mondays today?
I am having a terrible case of the Mondays.
You sound like
I told you I'm a better writer than I am a speaker. I swear I can write, girl. I can write. But ask me to talk, and I'm like, blah.
You are multi-talented. You get a free pass. You always sound so good.
Oh, thank you. So, Lindsay, thank you. I'm not even going to try to read that. We get caught up in the complexity of it and forget people are still learning the basics, reaching all levels. Hey, I did really good on that one.
You did.
I did.
A+.
But yes, absolutely, Brandy.
We get caught up in trying to do to just keep competing with ourselves and our peers. That we're like, I want to do more. People don't want to see more. Some people just want two blended colors, and here you go.
I know, that is so true. I honestly, like the last few lives I've been, like last week we did the mystery wheel, and I was like, thank goodness I don't have to sit here and try to, figure out what I can do next, something that is fresh and they haven't seen before, because I'm running out of ideas.
Yes.
I don't know when my muse is gonna pay me a visit and, throw something awesome and new at me.
Right. Because it comes in waves. It
does come in waves.
It's like, I'm creative and then I'm not.
Yep, absolutely. Jackie says she can write better than she can talk too.
Oh, text messaging is great because you can think about it.
So what do you guys think? I mean, did we inspire you to think differently on the topic? Are you a cool cat? Are you a copycat?
Are you a copycat that's going to reform? Are you going to reform? Are you a reformed copycat? I'm a reformed copycat.
Absolutely.
I'll admit it. Like you do better when you know better, and that's all we're here to say.
And I really think that the point that needs to be driven home here is, Leah and I are not coming on here to, pick on anybody and call anybody out or anything like that. Really, the point here is that it's better for your brand and better for your relationships with your fellow artists to just practice these small things, these small bits of manners, that goes such a long way. Right.
And I wanted to point out too, like, this hasn't been like recent. So like, there's not like, I really wanted to, when we were discussing like topics that we could go over, I feel like it was important to bring something like this up when we're not bitter about something, and we're not right now. Right?
That's true.
Because sometimes you do get bitter. You're like, she copied me. Now I'm going to go live and say something, and it doesn't come out correctly. So
no,
it's really
it doesn't.
important for us to cover this topic when we're not bitter, right?
That's true, because you guys would be getting a whole different side of me. First of all, this would be gone.
Yeah.
And I'd be doing a whole lot of this right now.
That's not good. Yeah. That's not good for anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's not good. Not good. And certainly not how I want to portray myself.
Right. So this was just like one of those things. So do you have tools? Like you said, I know you don't scroll Pinterest a lot. I'm someone, I'll admit, my furniture feed is my feed is full of furniture, and that's pretty much all it is. And so I really have to do that early in the morning thing where I chuck my phone and I'm like, what am I going to do? Before to just be inspired, to not be inspired by other people. So what are some tips? Do you have any tips for like how to how to make your work more original?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a really good step right there, just putting the phone aside. I actually, if you guys are on my social media, I'm sorry, I disappeared for a week. I needed a break. I
I
needed some
hear
me
ya.
time. Yeah. And really it's important because we get so caught up in stuff, and sometimes you just have to take a step back, reassess, and then come back more fiercely. And I'll do
Right.
that, a couple times a year. So that's a big one for me, is putting the phone down, staying off social media as much as possible. I'm
Right.
still on there a little bit, but, and then because like you, my furniture feed or my Facebook feed is all furniture,
Mm-hmm.
all furniture,
Yeah.
and it's really hard. The other thing is, I mean, just for me, I start looking at things like if I'm pouring, I don't know, the cream into my coffee and the way that it's swirling, like how cool is that? Or I took a picture of a fountain. I think I've said this before. I was at a retreat and it was a fountain, and the whole thing, it's actually what inspired my sponge technique that I did on a few pieces recently, because I took a picture of a fountain at a retreat. And it was
Okay.
totally cracking and grungy and textured and almost moldy looking, which I
Yeah.
actually love,
I like them too.
So those are probably big things. Clothes.
Close. Yeah.
Clothes. Yeah, that would do it for me too.
Yeah, there's Anissa from This and That. She always puts when we would paint together all the time, and she would send me like a picture. She'd be like, "This is my inspiration," and it would be somebody off of a runway.
Absolutely. Right. Exactly.
I like fashion
That's
week.
what I meant. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm glad
like
that you said
fashion.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Is
it's
a huge
totally
one.
different when you apply it to a piece of furniture.
It really is. Absolutely. Oh, Heather, thank you. She said she loves watching us all.
Yay.
Great at teaching.
Thank you, Heather.
Very calming. Yes, thank you, Heather. Ronnie, I love all of you.
Hey,
You're
Ronnie.
amazing and giving, and it's good to hear this. Thank you, ladies.
You are welcome.
And that's the thing. Like, I certainly don't want to be burnt out by giving, because I'm just giving,
right.
giving. I'm going to need just a little bit of take.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just a little bit of food on my plate.
Right.
That's it.
Because this is what we do for our job. I mean, this is it.
Know.
This is it. And it is. And our industry went from the painting industry in general went from, these are all my secrets, and this is what I have, and this is what I offer to my client, and I go into their home and I paint, and I don't tell anyone my secrets. To, we're very open now. And a lot of it is, I guess it's the age of information. And we're showing you how to use products we sell a lot of times too. But it kind of just came into we really made the flip where we're not keeping all of our secrets and we're sharing them. And it's like, in return, what's just say, hey, I learned this from, and that's it. Especially if you're going to use that photo on social media.
Right. And the other thing is too, is, like when I became a brand ambassador about a year ago, I really didn't share. I don't think I'd even done a live prior to becoming a brand ambassador, because I kept everything very close to heart. And now I'm putting myself out there, and that's all good and well. But, it's just good I just need something, because I'm putting myself out there. I'm not necessarily getting everything in return that I would want always. And then what happens is sometimes I'll put something out there like that's what I was trying to say. What is it? That piece that I did with the sponge technique, it was a dresser. And so many people talked straight up smack trash about my piece, And so combine, I taught on that piece, people are talking trash, and I'm not getting any credit. It's just, and that's why I took a break last week. I'm not going to lie. I just needed to take a step back, reassess, gather my peace again, because I'm a pretty peaceful person, actually. I certainly don't like feeling any kind of way, but I don't want to be burned out.
Right. And I think too, we're in a unique position where our pieces are posted on the Dixie Belle page. And so a lot of times, like on my page, I won't get negative comments because if you
same.
negative comment on my page, I ban, block, and delete you.
Yeah, girl, bye.
I see you. But on the Dixie Belle page, a lot of times, one of my pieces will be posted, and this is across the board, and people will be like, not crazy about it, or this is or the ones that are always the funniest, you guys, that really are the most annoying, for lack of a better term, are the ones where people are like, oh, this is the best blending I've ever seen on this page. This is the only one I've liked. It's almost like you're giving a really backhanded compliment. Like you're complimenting my work, but you're dissing everybody else's, or you're dissing yourself. Those are sometimes some of the things that we deal with, where it's like, or, people just outright say it's ugly, but those are some of the things we encounter. And so we're people behind, like, these photos there's people, and we've grown a thick skin, but with it all, which is for a whole nother topic on how to grow that thicker skin. But, it's like when you guys appreciate our work and you are inspired by it and you do copy it, just say, hey, I learned this from, and our guidelines are simple.
That one thank you can wash away those 7 or 8 comments of that is just hideous. That one piece of praise can just wash all of that away. I just have to acknowledge Kathleen really quick.
Yes.
She likes my Buffy mug.
Oh, I've never watched that show.
Cheers,
that's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, that might be my favorite show ever.
Did you?
I'm kind of a geek.
Are you? See, I
am a geek.
I never watched Buffy. I watched Xena Warrior Princess.
Yes,
that was my childhood.
Yes.
Because we didn't have cable. We had Xena on Saturday at 3 p.m.
I remember Xena too. Okay, guys. So do you have any other questions regarding the topic? Don't make me go off on a Joss Whedon digression here. Excuse me. Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Oh my gosh, all techniques are cool to watch, even if it's not your personal taste. That's true. That's a really
I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. Here we go. Read that one, Leah.
Okay. Lindsay says, yes, there's a whole world of amazing artists now. So it's so inspiring and a little intimidating. Totally agree with that. Makes me want to keep going and take in all that I can. And I'm here for it, Lindsay. I keep taking it all in. And I learn from everybody else too. Like just how you guys are learning. Like there are tips I've picked up from, from so many different artists that I use now today that I learned from somebody else, and I gave them credit. Like, whenever I'm like, I use Type Bond glue. I learned this from Brandy. Who knows where she learned it from? But, I said her name a few times in a video. Like, here's the credit. I learned it from her.
Right. Brandy says, I appreciate constructive criticism without being mean. Yeah, so do I.
Yeah. Yes.
Without being mean. Key part of that sentence. Absolutely. Yeah.
And sometimes it comes off weird because we are usually working in the world of text, right?
Yeah. Text that actually is a really good point. And I think that, I think that needs to be said. Text can mess everything up. Because there's no tone behind the text.
Right.
Right. And so, we can totally take things wrong or just not take them right. It might come off a bit harsh and it really wasn't meant that way. Maybe somebody was kidding. So I think that that's probably a big one too.
Right.
But again, I think we're getting into a different topic.
We have lots of topics to discuss.
I know, we really do.
So we want to hear what you guys want to hear about. Please. Let us know what you guys want to hear about at beyondthebrushlive@gmail.com. Because we want discussion and topics that you guys want to hear about. That is what we were here for. So if there is something on your mind, no matter what it is, send it to us. We'll consider it. Even if it's racy or, maybe a topic you're like, I don't know if they discuss that. Send it to us. Maybe we will. Yeah. We'll filter.
Even if it's racy, I like it.
Yes.
What about sexy content?
Ooh, that could get fun.
I have to say, before we wrap it up, so many people are asking about the mystery wheel. So ambassadors, if you are on this live right now and you are here, let's chat. I actually do have some ideas for the next mystery wheel. I'm laughing in my head right now because they're pretty good. So
that was so much fun. It was so much fun.
Okay, guys. Well, I think that pretty much covers it. I don't want to ramble on. I think our point has been made.
Yes.
Thank you guys for joining, and not only joining, but receiving what it is that we said. I know that Leah and I both hope that it was taken correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And perhaps can be put into use.
Right.
Just a simple thank you, good job, really can go a long way. You want to add anything to that?
No, I think that what needs to be said has been said, and I think a lot of the viewers even summed it up very, very concise and nice.
They really did, right? Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Well, yeah,
Absolutely.
you guys are awesome. This was enjoyable.
Okay, guys. So with that said, we'll let you go, but we will see you next week, same time, Monday, which is 12 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock a.m. Mountain Standard Time if you're here in the hot desert of Arizona with me. And submit your content ideas to the beyondthebrushlive@gmail.com email that we gave you. We are looking at them and we do want to hear from you. So don't be shy. Even if you're like, it's silly. I told Leah before we came on, would it be silly to say, hey, all you cool cats and kittens? And she's like, I love it. And here I am thinking I'm such a dork.
Oh, I love it. It's so fun.
Absolutely. So, all right, guys. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.